Friends, at this time, in fact, our discourse tonight will be taken from Balkand of the Ramcharitamanas, where we'll be looking at a very beautiful explanation. Where, my friends, when a human being, when devotees speaks of God, we try to understand and we try to explain what God is. And we try to explain the meaning of what God represents in our lives. Call that God Sri Ram, call that God Bhagwan Shiva, call that God Bhagwan Krishna, or Goddess, as the case might be. But when God is talking about God, thank you. When God is talking about God, in other words, Lord Shiva is going to explain tonight to us about the greatness, the symbolism, and what Sri Ram represents. The greatness, the symbolism, and what Sri Ram represents. Friends, that is at the level of Bhagwan. That is at the level of universally what Sri Ram represents. But when it comes to the relationship of God in our lives, we will see what we have to practice and what attitude we should have in, my friends, developing devotion for Bhagwan. It is said, in Sanatana Dharma, we have the Holy Trinity, and the Holy Trinity, as we all would be aware of, are described as Lord Brahma, Bhagwan Vishnu, and Bhagwan Shiva. The Holy Trinity. If we were to compare to other religions, they would say the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But thousands and thousands of years in our ancient history, Brahmaji was described as the creator or the one who assembled the universe. And notice I am using the word assembled the universe. Creation came from Bhagwan Vishnu. Creation came from Bhagwan Vishnu. So everything was created. Like, when you go to a bus factory or a factory where a vehicle is being built, the doors of the car, the trunk of the car, the bonnet of the car, the chassis of the car, they are all created somewhere in the factory. And then all the different components of the vehicle is brought to the assembly line, where now the technicians and the engineers would then start putting the vehicle together. So the chassis comes on the assembly line, and on the chassis, what goes on first? Goes on first? Huh? Pretamji, what goes on first? Well, that depends. That depends on what the engineers choose to put first. But he said the engine, maybe the wheels, the axles goes on, and they start mounting up the vehicle from underneath coming up. So the vehicle starts mounting from under coming up. So the axle goes on, the engine goes on, and like that, then the doors goes on, the fenders goes on, etc., and eventually engine, etc. My friends, when the vehicle is assembled, the people who are assembling the vehicle, they did not make the parts. They did not create the axle. They didn't create what you call the engine. It was built somewhere else. So like that, Brahmaji is said to be the one who assembled all the parts of the universe that has always been, that has been created prior to or before. That's why it is said in the Shiv Puran, in the Devi Bhagavatam and others, that Lord Brahma came from the navel of Lord Vishnu. So before Brahmaji there was Lord Vishnu. Before there was Brahmaji, there was Lord Vishnu. He came from the navel of Lord Vishnu. And there is a beautiful katha that describes, the conversation and even the fight between Lord Brahma and Vishnu, who is superior, etc. But we don't want to go there. My point is, Brahmaji, having assembled the universe, Bhagwan Vishnu, he preserves the universe by laying down the rules and the laws and the order of the universe. And then Lord Shiva, what he does? What he does? Let me hear what you all say. Huh? Girl in red. Destroys? Destroyer of all evil. No, we're talking about the universe. What he does with the universe? Very good. Somebody said it here and somebody said it there. He do not destroy the universe. He reabsorbs the universe. So everything comes into existence and everything goes back into him. My friends, when Lord Vishnu is in Vaikuntha and he is sitting and relaxing on Sesh Narayan in the Milky Ocean, Ma Lakshmi is massaging his feet and they are looking at all the activities that are happening on the earth. They are looking at all the activities, all the emotions being expressed, and all that is happening in the world. The Lord and Divine Mother, they are observing. And when the devotees are in distress, that time, like any mother, immediately will call on Bhagwan Vishnu and she will say, hey, look, my children are suffering there. When the devotees of the Lord suffers, or they are going through hardships, and they are going through turmoil, and they are going through problems in their life, Mother Lakshmi herself will send Bhagwan Vishnu to take care of them. In the katha of the very sad Ramayana, when Tulsidas Ji, when the Ram Bola was born and his mother died and father died and he ended up on the street, Mother Parvati came herself and gave milk from her own breast to that baby boy who was called Ram Bola. She looked after him and nurtured him the way a mother would look after a child. And friends, when we are in distress, the Lord will find a way to come into our lives. When we are in problems, the Lord will find a way to be with us and to come down on this earth and to protect us and be with us and guide us. The Lord always finds a way, or the Divine Mother always finds a way. But there is one thing we must never give up. There is one thing we must never give up, and that is what? Very good. Mishi, what you must never give up? Never give up, my friends, your Shraddha. Never give up your faith in who? Never give up your faith in your God, and never give up your faith in yourself. We must always have these two things. Friends, when the waters of the ocean is rough, and the boat or the ship is sailing, if that boat gives in to the rough waters of the ocean, it is going to sink. Remember, you and I are sailing on the ocean of sansar. We are sailing on the ocean of this world. And friends, if we give up, you know what happens? We are going to drown in this ocean of misery and the ocean of what you call frustration and the ocean of negativity. Therefore, like the child just said, she said, Lord Shiva reabsorbs the negatives of the world. But if we give up faith, he will not, if we give up faith in him, he will not reabsorb the negatives from the world or the negatives. And sometimes, you know what? Sometimes we think that the world is negative and the negative is in the world. But you know what happens, friends? The negative is really inside of us. Sometimes we think that the world is negative and we think that the people of the world are negative when the negative is really inside of us. Therefore, friends, never give up your Shraddha. Never give up your faith. So when Bhagwan finds a reason to come into our lives, Lord Vishnu comes down on the earth, sent by Mother Lakshmi to protect his devotees. He would live among us. He will be among us. He will communicate with us, and we may not know it is him. We may not know it is the Lord that we are talking to. You know, in Sanatan Dharma or in Hinduism, many beautiful kathas are given about the Lord coming and living among us and being among us. And Hindus take it for granted. Some Hindus. Now, the Americans and people of the Western world are making movies on how angels come into our lives. What they are calling angels, we call manifestations. And the Lord will take a manifestation and He will come in any form, at any time, and He will be there with us. But you know what we must have? We must have Shraddha. Do not give up your faith. You know why we should not give up our faith in ourselves and faith in Bhagwan? We should not give up faith in ourselves and faith in Bhagwan. Because when there is faith, the Lord, my friends, will manifest in our lives in some way or the other, believe it or not, and He will help us to overcome any situation that we may find ourselves in. Be it a Hindu person, be it a Muslim person, be it a Christian person, be it an Indian person, be it a Chinese person, be it a Spanish person, be it anybody. Once there is faith, my friends, faith has no race. Faith has no gender. Faith has no religion. Faith has God only. And when we have that faith, or that we call Shraddha, it is said, Bhagwan Shiva explains to us how Sri Ram will manifest and how Sri Ram will protect us in some way or the other. Shraddha is of utmost importance, my friends. And therefore He tells who Sri Ram is. Now let us see the words of Lord Shiva as He speaks of Sri Ram, who is none other than Lord Vishnu incarnated. For those who do not understand how Hinduism operates, like we said, you have Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Lord Vishnu always comes down in earth in some form or the other. Lord Shiva always comes to protect us in some way or the other. God comes and live among us. We must have the bhavana. We must have the feeling. We must have the bhakti. We must have the devotion to experience Him and know how He is working miracles in our lives. Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra Ji is being spoken of by Bhagwan Shiva. And what he says? Sri Ram Chandra Ji Sachidanand Rupa Surya hai. Wahan Agyan Ratri ka Lavalesh bhi nahi hai. Shadai Shwarya Yukta Bhagwan Swabhav se hi Prakash Rupa hai. Wahan to Vigyan Rupi Pratak Kal bhi nahi hota. He says here that Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra Ji is, now friends, be very attentive. We have to understand what God means to us in our lives. He is not far away off in heaven. God is not in heaven, or God is not somewhere in the seventh world above, and we are struggling to meet Him. Listen to what He is. Sachidananda Swarupaha. He is of the nature of Sat, Chit and Ananda, something that we are always accustomed hearing. What is the meaning of Sat? Sat means truth. And every time there is truth in our lives, whether it's in our thought, in our words, or in our action, that is the manifestation of God in our lives. And if ever there is untruth, then that is the manifestation of the evil and negative forces. That's why all religion, in every form of spirituality, will tell us we must hold on to truth. So truth means in thought, in words, and in deeds. And you say truth will always set you free. Therefore, friends, when we are tempted to become what you call affected by the dark side, by the negative side, by the untruthful side, we must always be cautious and be careful not to become the victim of untruth, because God is truth. So wherever there is truth in a marriage, the marriage will be happy. When there is truth in a person's mind, that person's mind will be happy. Anytime you tell a lie, or anytime we do something untruthful, or anytime we break the law, look at your mind. And what the mind does? The mind thinking how to connect, how to cover up the untruth or the negative that we did. But when there is truth, we can stand firm and say, hey, you know what? I am truthful, so there is no need to worry. My point is, where there is truth, there will always be happiness. Where there is truth, there will be victory. Where there is truth, there will be success. Where there is truth, there might be challenges. But when challenges come our way, my friends, the truth shall set us free. Now, this is one way of looking at it, that God is truth. But when it comes to the truth at that level, our everyday life level, we can look at it also from a Vedantic level. That truth is Brahman, truth is the soul within us, truth is the Atma within us, and everything else is untruth. Everything else is unreal. So friends, we look at the perspective, two different perspectives. We must use truth to help us to be successful in this world. And we must use truth to save the soul from the bondage of samsara and the cycle of birth and death. Because friends, the only thing that is real in this world is what? Only thing that is real. The only thing that is real is the thing that we cannot see, that we cannot smell, that we cannot taste, we cannot touch, and we cannot smell. See, hear, smell, taste, and touch. Those are the five. The thing that we cannot see, smell, taste, touch, and hear, that is real. But we know it is there. That is Satchidananda Swarupa. That which is beyond the comprehension of the senses. My eyes can't see it. My ears can't hear it. My nose can't smell it. My tongue can't taste it. And my skin can't touch it. But I know it is there. What is that? Huh? Olive. God? Oh God. What is that? We may say, huh? Spirit? Are baap, I going home. Do you know, in two chaupais after this, you know what Lord Shiva says? It is called spirit. Two chaupais after what I'm going to say now, Lord Shiva tells that which is called the spirit. But what we think is spirit is Jambi. Not that one. Not the Jambi spirit. We are thinking about the divine spirit, which we call the Atma, the soul. That is the only thing that is real, my friends. And that soul, we know it is there, but we can't see it, we can't smell it, we can't taste it, touch it, and feel it. But we know it is there. It's like Wi-Fi. Yes, man. Can you see the Wi-Fi? Can you smell it? Can you touch it? Can you taste it? Can you hear it? But you know it is there if you have a smartphone. Isn't it? Only the smartphone will pick up the Wi-Fi. If you have a phone that is not developed, you can come here and it will not pick up the Wi-Fi because, my friends, an undeveloped phone does not have the technology to pick up Digicel 4F1C Direct-0 DHD desk jet printer. A smartphone telling me here, Jerry 5G. And then my smartphone is telling me right on the Jerry it have Tom. No, I'm just joking. Then Maharaj, and then the one that I'm connected to is Pretam. My friends, only the phone that is developed will be able to find the Wi-Fi that we cannot perceive through our senses. Brothers and sisters, that is where technology came from. Technology comes from where the unmanifest God cannot be seen, smelled, tasted, touched, or heard, but we know He is there. That is the truth. That is truth. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, according to our Shastras, according to the Ramcharitamanas here in Balkan, Bhagwan Shiva is saying that this Lord Sri Ram is Sachidananda, the truth of purity. He is consciousness. He is awareness. And the consciousness in you, and the consciousness in me, and the consciousness in everyone sitting here is the same consciousness. Friends, the water in the wave, the water in the bubble, the water in the ripple, the water in the surf, and the water in the ocean is the same water of the ocean. So God is like the ocean, but the different components of the ocean, the wave, the ripples, the bubbles, the surf, all these are manifestation of water only. Like that, the Lord is that consciousness, the one consciousness, the one water that comes in different forms, in different shapes, in different size, in different era, in different times, to satiate the burning desire of his devotees, to liberate us from the cycle of birth and from the cycle of death. We have to understand that God is truth and God is consciousness. That truth is with us and that consciousness is with us. So God is not far away in heaven. God is not far away somewhere above the sky. God is with us in the form of consciousness, and God is with us in the form of truth, Sachidananda. Lord Shiva is speaking to Mother Parvati, and he is telling her that this consciousness is always with us, my beloved Parvati Devi. And then he goes on to say that this Sri Ram is also Ananda. What is the meaning of Ananda? Ananda means unconditional happiness, where you don't need something or somebody to make you happy. You are just happy. That is bliss. Don't depend on anyone or anything to make you happy. Be happy. Don't become happy. Be happy. Friends, you know what we say? We say that only when I do this, or only when I achieve that, or only when I get married to this person, or only when I get married to that person, then I am going to be happy. We depend on something or somebody to be happy. Brothers and sisters, I want to give you homework tonight. From tonight until tomorrow night, just for 24 hours, be happy and stay happy regardless of whatever happens. I am happy. I am a happy person and I will always be happy. Don't need anybody to make me happy. You put all the pressure in the world on me, I will be happy. That's the homework tonight. After tomorrow night, go back and be miserable. Isn't it? The wife take out the food and she put it on the table, happy. The wife don't take out the food and put it on the table, where she feel like is. She feel I a slave. You all probably heard this little story about the man. He was an alcoholic, you know. He was an alcoholic. So from the time he walking up the step, he walking bucks, going up the step. So the wife know, from the time she hear those footsteps, put tawa on the stove, you know. If not, it's abuse. So she heard the footstep coming up, and she put the tawa and she started cooking the roti. And by the time he sat down at the table, the roti must be there, hot, smoking hot. I see Olive watching and saying, Baba, that's a long time thing, you know. No. Go to my Masi stores and buy a roti, yeah? Come and microwave it. Get ready, make one. Huh? It's not one thing again. It doubles and aloo pie ready make. And when you want roti, go in the grocery, pick it up and come and hot it yourself. So, Jai Bhagwan, I have a conversation with us now. My friends, She heard the footsteps. She cooked the roti and put it when he sat down. No gratitude, No thank you, hon. Or how is the day? I love you. Nothing like that, Where my tea? Tea. Now water now boiling. Long ago never had no kettle and stuff. Had cattle. So you have to now boil the tea on the stove. She made the tea and brought it. Put it on the table. He drank. He took a sip of the tea and slammed it down. Don't you know I like sugar in my tea? After 27 years, and you don't know how to make my tea? She said the tea has sugar. He said, here, taste it. She said, I know, I put 2 spoons of sugar in it. Teaspoon. And in the cup, there is a spoon. All you have to do is, and when you stir it, the sugar will melt, and then you can have it. It will taste sweet. But if you don't stir it, the sugar will remain at the bottom of the cup, and even though it has sugar, the tea will not taste sweet. So he did that. And after all the abuse and all the insults and everything, no gratitude, she still remained calm. She still remained quiet. And she took it all. And my friends, she continues to do that all her life. In this world, you will find very ungrateful people. In this world, we'll come into contact with people who have no gratitude, who doesn't appreciate us for what we are. They only think about themselves, selfish. In this world, we'll come into contact with individuals like that. But you know what? We cannot lose our peace of mind and our happiness because of individuals like that. I know that there is only so much a person can take, and sometimes, I can only sit down here and talk like that, and it's easy to say. It's very easy to say, and I don't know what people are going through in their life. And I cannot tell you to stay and take pressure, and insults, and abuse, and be happy. I cannot tell you to do that. It's unfair. But I can tell you to do one thing, friends. Don't give up your faith in you. Don't give up your faith in your God. And if you have to make drastic decisions at times, make it. Sometimes we have to make strong decisions, and we have to do it. In the interest of our happiness, that is when we can take the knowledge from the scriptures and don't just put it in the cup of our mind. We have to stir the sugar of the knowledge of the scriptures in the cup of our mind and let these thoughts, the tea of thoughts, become sweet and nice tasting. We have to let this knowledge become one with us, my friends. And we have to practice this knowledge, and don't just read it and attend satsang and attend the church and attend the mosque and let the preacher, the pastor and the pundit speak and keep on speaking every day, every yagya. This is the 3rd yagya in the space of this month we are doing in Barakpur. Just a few weeks ago, we were in number 5 temple. From number 5 temple, we went to Bharat Mandali. We have the devotees of Bharat Mandali here tonight. And then from there, we ran away to Canada a little bit and then come back here. So 3rd yagya, just in about 1 month in Barakpur. And friends, if we don't take this knowledge and let it become part of our life, then we will live in this world and continue to be unhappy. The scriptures are saying tonight, regardless of what, you find happiness within you. Don't give up your faith. Don't give up your Bhagwan. And find that inner strength to stay strong and be happy. Because Ananda means happiness. And happiness that is not dependent on something or somebody. Tonight, wives, all the wives who are here, don't depend on your husband to make you happy. You be happy so that your happiness will rub off on him. Husbands, don't depend on your wife to be happy. You be happy and let your happiness rub off on your dulahin. Parents, don't depend on your children to be happy. You be happy and let your happiness and enthusiasm and joy for life rub off on your children. So when it rubs off on your children, they will grow up learning that happiness is not something I have to become. I am happiness. That is the meaning of Ananda. Parents, don't take the worries of your life and the worries and the heartache of your life and dump it in the life of your children. You just be happy in spite of the challenges. And you see, bringing up your child or children means bringing them up with happiness, not abuse. Bringing up our children with happiness and understanding. I remember something my son told me one day, he's 18 now. And you know what he told me? It's not talking my business, but I'm just giving an example of what my child said. He said, Dad, I want to be like you. I said, in what way? He said, you see how you just handle mommy? Real good. He said, you just handle mommy real good. I see mommy just do so many things, and you could get upset, and you just stay calm. I want to be like that. I said, well, you know what? If you want to be like that, you have to practice that home. And when your sister makes you angry, or does things to make you angry, treat her like a sister. He said, oh, you mean to say practice then? Because siblings always bickering. Always had a little tug of war going on. So when she is not tugging on him, he is tugging on her, and they are pulling each other, and a little fight goes on. I said, okay, when your sister, tempts you, stay calm. You say, oh God, Dad. But my point is, those little eyes are looking upon us. Those little eyes are looking upon us. And friends, my point is, when we bring them up with happiness, and we bring them up with joy, and we bring them up with understanding, those are the values that we implant into the mind of our kids and our children. So that Ananda, happiness, they will discover from within themselves. Friends, when we discover, be attentive, when we discover truth in us, when we discover consciousness in us, when we discover Ananda, happiness in us, we have discovered God in us. I tell you my poor stance. When we discover truth and consciousness and happiness within us, we have reached God. And when we reach God within ourselves, the result of that is Surya hai. I now go to the next word he says here. Shri Ram ji Sachidananda Rupa Surya hai. Then the light of the sun will shine in our lives. What does that mean? Now friends, imagine an ordinary person just reading the Ramayana, and they say, okay, Shri Ram, who is the sun, S-U-N. He is truth, consciousness, and bliss combined. The night of delusion can have no part whatsoever when the person experiences the sun, S-U-N. Now you see, that is the literal word-to-word meaning, but we have to interpret it in our lives. We have to bring it from the page into our practical life. And this is why here Lord Shiva is saying that when a person discovers what you call Sachidananda Rupa, truth, consciousness and bliss within themselves, then the sun of knowledge will shine. And when the sun of knowledge shines, my dear brothers and sisters, then nahi taha moha nisa lava lesa, then we do not become the victim of what is called as delusion, an illusion of this world. And once we do not become the victim of illusion and delusion, my friends, then There is nothing evil in this world that can take us down. Lord Shiva is speaking about Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra Ji like this and saying, friends, when we experience this truth, consciousness and bliss within us, delusion cannot affect us. Friends, can I ask you all a question? And the question is, can anyone tell me which is the biggest untruth that we ever live? Tell me which is the biggest untruth. Well, let me say it in the real word, Naman. What is the biggest lie we ever told? Anybody? Oh God, Baba, I don't want to see. Huh? You know what is the biggest lie that we have all told? Biggest lie that we have all told is when we say we are unhappy. But Baba, I'm unhappy? What do you want me to say that I'm happy? You know why that is a lie? Example. The nature of something is its true identity. You all agree? The nature of water is to be, what's the nature of water? To be wet. Can anybody in this world change water from being wet? Huh? Jerry, if you freeze the water and it become ice, it stop being wet. Jerry, you for real? It becomes solid, but it is still wet. Once you touch it, the water is gonna get wet. You cannot change water from being wet. Second thing, can you change fire? The nature of fire is to be, the nature of fire is to be hot. Can anybody change fire from being hot? If anybody could change fire from being hot, I'll give you a medal tonight. Friends, the nature of fire is to be hot. Right? If the nature of water is to be wet, and the nature of fire to be hot, what is the nature of the wind? What's the nature of the wind? The nature of the wind is the flow. Olive said the flow. What's the nature of the wind? The nature of the wind is to dry. Anything you put in the wind, it will dry. Except water. Yes, water too. Water will dry up in the wind. But once you touch water, the wind will dry it. Now, friends, if that is clear, the nature of a human being, you and I, our nature, like fire to be hot, water to be wet, human nature is to be happy. So how come you cannot change water from being wet, you cannot change fire from being hot, but you change yourself from being happy to unhappy? Example the Upanishad gives is, you light the fire and you take some object, and you cover the fire. You will not know the fire is there, but you're seeing the smoke. And there is a saying, where there is smoke, there is fire. My friends, when sorrow or sorrowful experiences or negative experiences cover the fire of our happiness, it is as if we are not happy, but the reality is we are happy. What we have to do is to get rid of what is covering our happiness. And how to get rid of that? Some people have worries covering their happiness. Some people have husband trouble covering their happiness. Some people have financial trouble covering their happiness. Some people have wife issues covering their happiness. Some people have job issue covering their happiness. Some people have friend issue covering their happiness. Some people have some issue covering their happiness. But the reality is, they are really happy. But some issues came in and is covering their happiness, and what they need to do is to uncover that. Get rid of whatever is covering it. But when something comes into your life and is covering the fire of your happiness, it doesn't mean to say that you're not happy. You will never stop being happy. But some issues come and cover your happiness. Therefore, we have to get rid of that issue. And that's why the great masters say, the great gurus, they say, anything or anyone that is taking your happiness away from you can never be good for you. Anyone or anything that takes your happiness or cover your happiness can never be good for you. Get rid of it instantly. Why we can't get rid of it? Because attachment. Attachment to the things and beings that is robbing us of our happiness, we hold on to them, and we hold on to them, and we hold on to them. Let us say somebody is just making your life miserable all the time. You go hold on to them. But you can't get away from them because you're attached to them. So then you continue to be miserable. And that's why sometimes people have instances in their life where they become so miserable, they can't go away from the cause of their unhappiness, and so they have to hold on because of attachment. My dear brothers and sisters, my point is, in this life, life is too short to be wasted in not being happy. It's our nature. It's part of us. And we come like, you take a plastic bag. God forbid, God forbid, God forbid. You take a plastic bag and cover your head with it and you tie it here. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time when you will be strangled and you will die. Brothers and sisters, in this world, we are alive by God's grace, Pretam, and we are allowing situations to stifle us. My wish for you tonight, Pretam and Michelle and your children, and to everyone who are present here, always go back to the source of your happiness. That's within yourself, the God within you, Sachidananda Rupaha. And then the delusion and the illusion of the world will not stifle you. Aaye bhi akela, jaye bhi akela. It doesn't only mean to say we came alone and we're going alone, It means to say, my friends, we are always alone. So then why take the things of the world and dump it on our mind and rob ourselves of our happiness? Baba, that is so easy to say. And I know it is easy to say. But that is where we have to be. That is where we ought to be. I know we have to be realistic. We live among people. Sometimes you're at work, your superiors putting pressure on you. Sometimes unnecessary pressure. Sometimes you just can't, you're trying to do something, somebody is just an obstacle in your way. You have to work with them. Sometimes out of jealousy, people trying to pull you down. Sometimes situation arises in your life, in your career, where you have to fight, and you have to fight a real battle in order to overcome, in order to succeed. In so doing, friends, How can you, therefore, Baba, how can you say to be happy? Brothers and sisters, you know when somebody is trying to destroy you? If somebody is trying to destroy you, superiors, positions, etc., etc., or somebody is trying to rob your happiness away from you, what that person is simply doing, trying to make you weak. And anytime you become weak, you can be conquered. When we stay strong, we can overcome. And the only way we can be strong and stay strong is to always go back to the source of your life. And the source of your life is your God. And the source of your life, who is God, is within you in the form of truth, consciousness, and bliss. Go back to your God. Call that God Ram, call that God Krishna, call that God Sai, call that God Buddha, call that God Jesus, call that God, oh God. Call that God anything you want to call him. But go back to him. And he is within you. And when we find him within ourselves, Lord Shiva is saying, joy and sorrow, knowledge and ignorance, egoism and pride, all these characteristics of the Jivatma, Harsha or Shoka, Gyan or Agyana, Ahamta और अभिमान, ये सब बुद्ध जीव के धर्म हैं. This, in fact, these are the qualities of the lower self. These are the qualities of the Jivatma, not the pure Atma. And friends, the Jivatma is the sufferer in this world within us. The Atma is the enjoyer of the world in spite of whatever the world is. The difference between Atma and Jivatma. Atma is the pure soul. Jivatma is the soul that has been affected by the situations of the world. Therefore, Pretam, your beloved Nani, have passed on 5 years ago. As the Jivatma, she was your Nani. But as the Atma, she is part of God. The Jivatma is in the body, going through the experiences and suffering in the body. The Atma is in the body, but is never affected by the body, is free from the body consciousness. So therefore Lord Shiva says here, Harsha or Shoka, Gyana or Agyana, Ahanta or Abhiman, ये सब जीव की धर्म हैं. श्री रामचंद्र जी तो व्यापक ब्रह्मा परमानंद परात परम ईश्वर और परा पुरुष हैं. ये सारा संसार जानता है. Therefore, Lord Sri Ramchandra ji, and all the world knows, is all pervading. He is the supreme bliss personified, and he is the supreme Paramatma personified. When we identify with him, the world can come crushing down at us. We can be freed from being crushed by his grace and his blessing. Such is the faith, and such is the Shraddha, and such is the power we must believe in, that is beyond all in this world. That is where our happiness lies. Friends, the Hindus call their God Sri Ram inside of them. The Christian call their God Jesus inside of them. The Muslims call their God Allah inside of them. You know what is important? Not the God you pray to, but the God that you found inside of you. Find him, friends. Please do anything in this world, but find him. Discover him. And be happy and stay happy. And that is the goal of our lives. Prem se boli Dhyapati Ramachandra ki. Lord Shiva continues to speak about this Sri Ram. But to this point, we will stop and we will ask our beloved Brian ji or Shiva ji, anyone you decide, to do us a bhajan. And then we have our final arti and our closing prayer.
महलों का सुख छोड़ सिया ने राम का साथ निभाया, लक्ष्मी ने धर रूप सिया का जग का पाप मिटाया, बना दिया था इस धरती को राम भक्त का धाम। सीता के राम, सीता के राम, राधा के श्याम, मीरा के गिरधर नागर